I am going to dissolve everything you have ever known to be true right now with this simple sentence. Your identity is not real. Why are you living a story that you do not wish to live? It's because you have become distracted. You have forgotten that you are the writer and director and main character in your life. You hold a lot of power. Instead of allowing yourself to realize the power that you hold, you have trapped yourself in a box. This so-called box you label as identity. Your identity is not real. There is deep truth behind this statement. There is deep power behind this statement. There is deep fear behind this statement. This is a raw statement. Your identity is not real. I understand that you may not like to hear this. Even more so, it is very likely that hearing this statement may cause you to tense up. You may notice that your mind or your body is rejecting this statement. That is okay. You don't need to accept this statement. You don't need to believe it just yet if you are not ready to believe it just yet. But if you are here, it is because you are ready to at least accept this statement as a seed to be planted in your mind. If your identity is not real, then what is it? All that your identity is ego. I don't mean this in a bad or a negative way. When a lot of people hear the word ego, they associate it with negativity. New Age spirituality has, in a sense, demonized the word ego. When we hear about the ego, we view it as something that we need to push away, a bad version of ourselves that we mustn't accept, that we need to reject. Quite frankly, it is the opposite. The ego is your friend. The ego will teach you life lessons. The ego is what causes you to learn and grow and level up in your life. The ego is what allows you to have new experiences. The ego is something that once you learn to befriend, you realize what power you hold within yourself. You realize that you are the creator of your life. Manifestations will begin to become effortlessly to you because you have begun to accept your ego rather than reject your ego. Your ego is a part of you. Because you chose to incarnate here on earth, you were given an ego, also known as a false identity, so that you would be able to experience this life on earth, because you are so much more than your human physical body. You are so much more than the thoughts in your head, than the feelings and beliefs that you hold. You are so much more than all of this. At the core, you are a being of love, and love only. You are love. That is all that you are. But if you were to incarnate here on earth as your truest form, love, you wouldn't be able to experience any of the things that you get to experience in this life. You wouldn't get to experience literally anything. You wouldn't be able to have opinions about things. You wouldn't be able to learn new things because you, at the root of what you are an eternal being of love, pure consciousness, infinite intelligence. You already know everything because you are everything. You are so much more magnificent than you allow yourself to realize that you are. But if you were to incarnate as that version of yourself here on this earth, you wouldn't be able to learn anything because you already know everything. You are infinite intelligence. The ego allows us to be able to learn. It allows us to be able to grow. It allows us to be able to express ourselves however we wish to express ourselves, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The ego allows us to feel emotion, all of the emotions, not just negative ones. As I said before, a lot of people in New Age spirituality demonize the ego. The ego is nothing to be feared. Your ego allows you to have this human experience. The ego is the identity. You can view this in a positive light or a negative light. You can either view this in the sense that if my identity is not real, what's the meaning of life? Here's the secret. I'll save you all the trouble. There isn't one. There isn't. There's not a meaning to life, so stop searching for one, is a message that I have been receiving over and over and over and over and over again. I used to ponder this question endlessly, obsessing over the question, what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? What is my life's purpose? What is the point? Why does there need to be a point? There doesn't need to be a point. Why does there need to be a meaning to life? Why do you need to have a purpose? You don't. All of the answers to this question is simply to satisfy the ego, which we have already established is an illusion. Because you at the core, you're infinite intelligence, you are a divine being of love. You are not your ego. So you don't need to satisfy your ego. Moving on. The other way that you could choose to interpret this information is in a positive light. If your identity is not real, you no longer need to identify with the version of yourself that you have been identifying with, especially if you have noticed that you are falling into a depression, if you have noticed that you are feeling dissatisfied and discontent with your life, if you have noticed you are spiraling in anxiety, fear, agony, pain, despair, depression, discontent, anything of the sort. If you are living a life that you no longer wish to live, you no longer need to identify with this version of yourself. You no longer need to identify with this way of living. You no longer need to identify with the life you have chosen to live. It may have been unconscious because you were caught up in distraction upon distraction upon distraction upon distraction. Now it is time to wake up. The fact that you are here watching this video means you are at the right frequency to be receiving this message. The fact that you are here watching this video means congratulations, you've woken up, congratulations, good morning, wake up. No, but really, you have all the power in your hands to choose a new life, to choose a new identity, to choose a new version of self you wish to identify as. Because the identity is not real, therefore you can choose whatever identity you wish to live. Whoever you want to be, literally whoever you want to be, you can be. The world is a reflection of you, according to the law of attraction. Whatever characteristics or traits you admire in another person, whether it be a person that you know in your personal life, or even a celebrity that you admire and look up to, whatever traits you admire in another person, you already hold them within yourself. You may not feel that you do because you are identifying with a past version of yourself. You don't need to do that anymore. You can allow yourself to be whoever you want to be. You can allow yourself to be whoever you want to be. You are the writer, director, and main character in your life. So start acting like it. Quite frankly, you can do anything. The only thing that stands in the way is you identifying with a past version of yourself, aka identifying with the mind of a past version of yourself. So quantum physics proves that time is not real, not as we know it. Time is not linear. Everything is happening all at the same time. Past, present, and future are all happening all at the same time. So what if instead of identifying with a past version of yourself who is holding you back, what if you chose to identify with a future version of yourself? The ideal version of yourself, the dream life version of yourself, the main character you've always wished to be. The reason why you have always wished to be this person is because you already are. Every possibility in the world already exists. The world is nothing but infinite potential. Literally. This means there is an infinite number of realities that exist. There is an infinite number of potential outcomes for how your life could go. Because there is an infinite number of dimensions. You can choose to identify with any version of yourself who you wish to be. This is called quantum shifting. When you decide to show up as a different version of yourself, when you decide to be a different version of yourself, when you decide to live as a different version of yourself, when you decide to let go, stop identifying with the past versions of yourself, and instead identify with a future version of yourself, the dream version of yourself, an ideal version of yourself. This is quantum shifting, quantum leaping, quantum jumping. You are jumping from one dimension to another one. You are the writer, director, and main character of your life. If you have found that you are living a life you do not wish to live, you have the power to change that. You do not need to continue to accept this life that you have been living any longer if you do not feel that you align with it. There's an infinite number of potential realities that exist. Like actually, literally. If you took one different action today that you wouldn't normally take, you are breaking current cycles you may be stuck in. When you take a new action, this creates a portal, an energetic portal to a new reality, a new dimension. To have the most success with this, I put this in quotes because success is subjective, but to have the most success with this, it's best to follow your intuition and take new actions that are intuitively guided. If you find it is difficult to connect to your intuition. Also, if you feel like your life is chaotic, you need to slow down. Nobody likes to hear that, especially when things are fast. If you feel like you don't have the time to slow down, you need to slow down more than anybody. Even if it is for 5 minutes. I promise you have 5 minutes. I promise you have 5 minutes, okay? Do nothing for 5 minutes, but breathe. Some would call this meditation. That's exactly what it is, but you don't need to label it. Just sit with yourself and breathe. This is already enough of a change to redirect you. If you are busy, and you feel like you have no time, giving yourself 5 minutes is a redirection of self. You change the trajectory of where you are currently heading. If you are busy, and you're going this way because you're so busy and you're just constantly going this way, but this way doesn't serve you. This way is not leading to your dreams, goals, ambitions, whatever. If you're busy, and you're going this way, all of the momentum and kinetic energy of busy was going this way. You then give yourself 5 minutes. You're no longer actively rushing, actively pushing, actively fighting, actively hurrying, actively stressing, actively being busy, because you are giving yourself 5 minutes to do nothing. This 5 minutes of doing nothing does not align with this busy energy. Therefore, this 5 minutes of nothing causes your energetic field, your energy, your identity, to pivot. And for a moment, you are now turned around. And for these 5 minutes, you are no longer going in this direction, but you have turned. And for just a moment, you are now going this direction. And now you're here instead of over here and only going over here. Now you're here. These hand motions are different realities. The reality that you were headed in, that you did not like at all, was over here. But because you have given yourself 5 minutes of stillness, now you're here. In this reality, even if you were to continue to go down the route of busy after your 5 minutes of meditating, sure, fine, whatever, do that if you want. It's up to you, it's your life. You're not going to be over here. If you go back over there, you're going to be over here. These are two different realities. Because you gave yourself 5 minutes of stillness. So even if you did choose to go down the busy route again, you didn't decide you were going to do a complete 180 and change your life. That's fine. You don't need to do that. And do that if you want. Literally, it's your life. Do whatever you want. It doesn't need to be extreme, or it can be extreme. It's up to you. But what I'm saying is, even if you chose to continue to be busy, you're not gonna be in this reality anymore that you really hated and was stressing you out. Even if you are still stressed, you're less stressed because you gave yourself 5 minutes and you are closer to the ideal version of yourself because you're no longer mindlessly just going this way. You decided to pivot and now you're more this way. The directions don't matter. It's all like hypothetical, but you see my point. They are different realities. Because you chose to give yourself 5 minutes, you created a portal. When you take a different action that you wouldn't normally take, you are opening a portal that will lead to different dimensions. There is an infinite number of dimensions that exist because there is an infinite number of actions you can choose to take. Also, choosing not to take an action is an action in itself. Sometimes non-action is the most powerful action that there is. There is an infinite number of possibilities that exist. There's an infinite number of realities that exist. There's an infinite number of dimensions that exist. You are the writer, director, and main character of your life. You get to choose which reality you wish to live in. There is an infinite number of possibilities because you are infinite potential. You are an infinite expression of yourself. That's why there's an infinite number of versions of yourself. So if you do not like the current version of yourself that you are identifying as, if you do not like the current life that you are living, you can change it. You have the power to change it. You have the power to drop it. You have the power to shift, quantum leap, quantum jump into a new reality. I have done this a whole bunch of times. I love it. It's like my favorite thing ever. Every single time that I do it, it gets more and more and more intense because I realize what I am capable of. Imagine that. Congratulations. You've woken up. You can continue to write your story with a new perspective. All of the power is in your hands. You can live any life that you could possibly imagine if you simply just decide that it is already so. Simply decide that this new identity of self, this dream version of yourself, you are already them because you are in a different reality. Now you just have to jump. Align with that reality. And this life becomes yours. Congratulations.